Can I get your attention, please? Woo! Yo. You ready for this? Coming at you from Wicked Big Studios in Peabody, Massachusetts.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Sit back, buckle up, because you're in the happy hour with your boy, King Hap.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the happy hour. Good to have everybody here. I appreciate everybody sitting out last week and waiting for my little vacation week to go ahead and blow by, but we're happy to be back here. Guys, I need to let everybody know we're being brought to you today by our very good friends at Recess. Ladies and gentlemen, take a recess.com. Promo code KINGHAP will save you 15% site-wide. Guys, get on over there. I'm telling you what, man, you deal with some of the people I deal with, you're going to need to take a Recess. It's the best mood swing you can have in a can. I'll tell you what, the nootropics in it, everything makes you feel fantastic. Those people trying not to drink and get that summertime body on, boom, promo code KINGHAP, save you 15% site-wide, makes you feel great, no alcohol. Also, guys, if you're trying to get that summertime body ready, we're also being brought to you today by our friends at The Dolce Diet. Yes, myself and Coach Mike trying to get everybody in fantastic shape for the summertime. TheDolceDiet.com, promo code KINGHAP15, 15% site-wide. Get over there, let Coach Mike know that you're smashing out on the Dolce Diet. Guys, I'm really excited about today's show. We're here and we're ready to rock and rumble. Everybody who put in your orders for swag, it is shipping tomorrow. I got all the packages. Don't even blame Beantown this week, guys. It is me. I got all the packages here in the studio and we're sending them out tomorrow. It's on me, not Beantown Bad Boy for one time. You can still give him crap on the live show. Today, I'll tell you what, though, we'll worry about that when it comes Wednesday and Thursday night. Tonight, we got a very special guest coming on the show. I'll tell you what, you people might know him as a mixed martial artist. You people may know him as the $1 million, and we'll talk about that, $1 million tough enough winner. But most people nowadays know him as, I'll tell you what, this man is a number one motivational speaker. Number two is a community activist, mylifemypower.org. We're going to get into this for days. I mean, we got all day to talk about it, but I got to give a quick introduction here, my man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Daniel Puder, welcome to the happy hour.
Bro, thank you so much for having me on. This is going to be fun today.
Yeah, honestly, I'm amped up to have you here, and I know you do a lot of talking, and, everyone knows I'm a blowhard, so I got a lot to say, so this ought to be a good time. I got to start it off because I got to just mention this. You coming from, like WWE fame is, basically where everybody started to notice you. I mean, last night, Ric Flair's last match ever. I mean, one of the men who basically paved the walkway for WWE, WCW, AEW, all these people. Ric Flair actually suited up again at 72 years old, went in there, and I mean, kudos to Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, everyone, and obviously his son-in-law Andrade for going ahead and, helping him through the match, taking the bumps and everything. But amazing to see Ric Flair in there at 72 years old, is it not?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to, 70. I mean, I'm 40 and taking bumps is like, whoa, hold on, guys, don't mess with me. Like, I don't want to hurt myself. I don't want to hurt you. So it's crazy.
I'll tell you, when I do my mixed martial arts training, I took a couple of judo throws the last time I was in there, and I'll tell you, man, honestly, I felt like my inside shifted a little bit in there. Once you get to a certain age, taking those throws and stuff just isn't as fun as it used to be. I mean, you must agree with that, right?
No. I mean, it's funny because people go, "Oh, why don't you come train with me? Come train, hit some, do some grappling." And I'm like, no. Number one, no. I go to the gym 2-3 days a week. I stay in shape. I feel good. I can lift heavy. But at the end of the day, I'm not, like, why? Like, what's like at this point, dude, I'm 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see everybody, they do dumb stuff until they're like 50 and they're getting hurt and they're getting hurt and they're getting hurt. And then they're like, oh no, now I got to stop. And it's all ego driven. I'm like, no, I'm good, man. Like, I'm good now at 40 years old.
I come back from I got the ankle gates famous here in the happy hour. I've had this, I broke my ankle, unfortunately, and then it re-broke. And now, we're making a comeback now. But I'll tell you, injuries are real at this age and everything. But I'll tell you what, I mean, 8-0 as a professional martial artist, 2 KOs, 3 submissions, 3 decision victories. I mean, what could get you out of a promising career like that besides a chance at $1 million, right?
Hey, you know what? Everything is opportunity in life. I've taken a lot of really good opportunities. Some of them I've screwed up. Some of them I've done really well. But I've learned a lot in my life, and I've accomplished a lot in the 40 years that I've been alive.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll say it. And without even asking you, I can bet that your greatest accomplishments in life haven't come in the WWE ring. They haven't come in the mixed martial arts cage or ring, right? What you do nowadays is your greatest accomplishment. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. But I mean, would you have to say I'm pretty correct with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, having a purposeful life is way more important than just having, success, having money, having things. At the end of the day, people keep searching for things, but what really drives you at the end of the day? What really fulfills you? So I've found something that fulfills me, and it's one of the biggest blessings of finding it early, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people go their whole life and can't find that one thing because they've been searching for something extrinsically that doesn't fulfill them, or it does for an hour. It does, you go party, you go do, whatever else, it fulfills you for a little bit, but then you want it again and you want it again. So it's pretty cool to do what we get to do now.
And I'll tell you, one thing is that I noticed is that you used to train at AKA back when you were doing mixed martial arts. I wanted to ask you right off the bat, did you ever train with, Happy Hour Social Club VIP, John Fitch down there at AKA?
I did. How do you know John Fitch?
Oh, John Fitch, good friend of the show. He's been on a couple of times, man. We chat frequently online. Fitch is a great guy. I'll tell you, he's awesome. If you see his Instagram, he's always got the Happy Hour Social Club gear on. He's a great friend to the show, and I mean, a terrific guy, man. He's an opinionated, funny dude, right? I mean, would you agree?
So please send me his podcast when we're off. I want to listen to it that he's been on with you. Yeah, he was always a great guy to me. He took care of me. I think we wrestled a few times and he punched me a bunch, but it was definitely, he's a good guy. He's always been very, very authentic and real.
Yeah, he actually, I was very grateful. He retired on a Saturday night in Bellator. He laid the gloves down. The following week, he come on the Happy Hour. It was his second appearance, and I really appreciated that, coming here first on his retirement tour. I mean, what a friggin' good guy he was, man. I mean, hey, to this day, I still always make sure I say what's up. He's a great guy, and I'll definitely let him know. And he'll see that you were on the show, and he'll definitely have a comment or two, because he's like I said, he's always a great guy. So you down at AKA for a bit. You were doing your training there. I know Crazy Bob. You did some training with Frank Shamrock, Javier Mendez. I mean, you basically had an all-star cast of training partners and coaches. I mean, that must have been excellent for you, coming up as an undefeated martial artist, correct?
Yeah. I mean, my first coach was Frank Shamrock. Then it was Javier Mendez. I know Bob jumped in and out, but at the end of the day, to be able to have a gym owner add value to my life for $0. And I'll tell you, like, I went there one week. I was in juvenile hall. I told the story a few times before, and I was in juvenile hall when I was 16 for beating up a kid, and didn't think he did something right, and I whooped him later. Yep. And I don't suggest that whatsoever. Anybody want to decide to go to jail, I challenge you not to go. It's not a fun place. And got out a few months later. I went, my buddy was training over there, and he goes, "Hey, you should come check this out." It's like wrestling and grappling. And I'm like, all right. So my buddy John from high school. And then I went over there, and I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved it. I got a free week, right? Like a membership. But the problem is they kicked my ass for a week. And so it's not like you go to just lift some weights and like do some cardio, right? For that week. And it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed, the wrestling. I enjoyed, the getting pushed mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I enjoyed like that environment. And so being around Frank Shamrock, he took me under his wing. I actually saw him about 6-8 months ago and took him out to lunch in LA. And, it's interesting how people go through, life building relationships or not spending time with people or spending time with people. And so we connected again, and Hav I've always connected with back and forth. He's just been a very special person in my life, and he was the guy that believed in me.
Yep.
He was the guy that said, yeah, you can have a free gym membership. And I traded him, actually. My dad at 12 years old took me into the bathroom at his company, and he said, as the CEO, I'm going to teach you how to clean the bathroom. And he put me with his different managers over time to teach me different roles and responsibilities. And I went back to Javier, and I'm like, my parents won't pay for the $150 a month, but could I wash your mats and clean your toilet? And he said, yes.
Awesome.
And so it's interesting just to look at that mindset and look at the ability to do something that I learned 5 years before. And to, it made me who I am today. Is gave me the building blocks to be able to go in there and negotiate and ask for what I want and build relationships.
Yeah, and work towards it, and that's that's one thing about, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Mike Dolce, good friend of the show. My boss. I'm a certified Dolce diet coach, and one of the things with Mike Dolce is he took the job as the head strength coach at Team Quest, but when he got there, that job didn't pay what he anticipated. He already left his job, traveled out there to take the job. So not only was he the head strength and condition coordinator at Team Quest, he also at that point became the janitor to go ahead and pay the bills. And I'll tell you, I mean, from when you work from nothing to something, that gives you that sense. Number one, you never want to let it go. And number two, that gives you that sense. You don't get that sense of entitlement that it was handled to you. You had to work for everything. And I appreciate the fact that you instill that in and like I said, we'll talk about the school in a little bit and all the students in there, but that's what you instill in them. And you teach them to go ahead with real world skills, which is basically what you had to teach yourself coming up, things like cleaning the bathrooms at AKA in exchange for training, correct? I mean, is that kind of how you go ahead and view this?
So yes, and I think that a lot of people today don't have they don't understand responsibility, and if they do get responsibilities given to them or opportunities offered with responsibilities, then they don't understand how to be accountable for their responsibilities. So we have 8 private schools that will be open in September or this next semester, and it's crazy to be able to look at, like, how do our youth coming up, or people today, my staff, right, like my team, how do I help them and build them to understand that a job is not a job? I've told kids, I go if you want to be really successful, go to a McDonald's, go to a Burger King, go to whatever store, and go in and clean the bathrooms. Don't even ask for a job yet. Just go clean the bathrooms and do it again the next day and do it again the next day. I bet you within 5 days of cleaning the bathrooms every day, you take your own material in too. Go spend $20 on it, right?
Yeah,
go spray, go get your own spray, right? Like, spend $20 on it. I bet you that you will be offered a job. And then when they offer you a job, right? Like, I mean, how fast if somebody came in, just walked into my business and started cleaning my bathrooms, I'd be like, when do you want to start? Right? like, because it's that work ethic. I look at people now, like, as a manager position, but I manage, but at the end of the day, I want to build leaders. Yep. I don't even want to lead. I want to build leaders. Like, I want to build people to build other people long-term, because I dislike micromanaging. I dislike being a boss. I don't want those positions. I want to be able to build somebody in so they love what they do every day, and so they can do it to their best and most passionate position that they can. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people dislike their job. They have a have-to mentality. I have to go to work. I have to work this. It's like, no, you don't. Go get another job. But people get stuck in those positions because they don't prepare themselves when they're younger. Like, I told a 25-year-old girl that I met on an airplane today, I said, here's the thing. You're 25 years old. You want to go to law school? Go to law school. But what I'd recommend is 2 things. 1, go interview a bunch of lawyers and actually watch them in their day-to-day. Number 2 is go become a guardian litem in Florida. And a guardian litem basically represents a kid at court, a foster care kid, and you'll see the whole court system. If you like it, then you're good. If not, then figure out something else. But don't put your heart and soul and $80,000 on the line unless you're actually going to love what you do every day. Like, exactly. Why do it? Like, this world is different than 100 years ago. 100 years ago, no, you do what you're told to do. Like, yep. You go work in the factory. Like, you don't have opportunity, definitely in third world countries. Like, you make $1, $2 a day. Like in St. Kitts, India, where I was with the Dalai Lama a couple of years ago, yep. You're making $2 a day when you're an adult. And there's very little opportunity to get out of that situation. So we have in America, literally, I mean, I've been to probably 10 countries, 12 countries, something like that. We have so many opportunities, but people are so lazy, and they wonder why. I just met a guy that came from Congo in the airport at Dallas International. And I met a guy, and I literally give him $20 to walk out of the bathroom. The bathroom was spotless. I give him $20. And he acts like it's $1 million. And then my wife walks by a couple minutes later and he goes, thank your husband so much. It's like $1 million. And I'm like, she's like, what'd you do? Give him 100? I'm like, no, I gave him $20. I go, she's like, oh my God. So I gave him my card. I walked back up to him, gave him my card. I said, if you ever want a job cleaning bathrooms or cleaning schools, I impact lives. I would love to have you come work for me.
Yeah,
and he texted me today.
Yep. That's unbelievable.
Dude, he does it with a passion, bro. Like, why not?
I love it. And I'll tell you, you made a good point there. And I wanted to touch on that. You said that if don't invest yourself, your money, your time into something you don't love. And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, through the years, I've had some jobs, they paid well. And, the thing with that is that a lot of people don't understand, and they say the salary is your compensation to forget your dreams.
Check this out, bro. My son just came. Come here, big bud. Come here. Come here. I'm gonna go get him real quick. Hold on a second.
Do it, my man. Do it.
Check this out. I'll bring him over here on the show. Hey, bud, come here. Come here, big boy.
Having a good time here with Daniel Puder, gents.
Oh, come here. You want to see some friends? Yeah, let's sit down.
Oh.
You want to see? Oh, here we go. There we go.
Look at this. How you doing? And who's this, big man?
This is Conrad. He's my son. He's 21 months old.
Wow. How you doing,
Would
Conrad?
you like to eat, big boy? Can I have double boop? Double boop? Petito? Oh, you want to go to mama? You want some food? Yeah. Okay. Go to mama.
Scared him with the camera and the
There you go, big boy. Go to Papa. Papa's going to be on the interview, okay? I'll be there in a few minutes. I love you. Go to mama. Go to mama. I'll be in there in a little bit, okay? I
Conrad
love you, big boy.
might be the youngest guest in the history of the happy hour.
And we will drive tonight in the car, okay? Here's the keys. You want the keys? Oh, they're in the car. They're in the house. They're in the room, Lovey. We go driving. It's super fun. Hey, bud, I'll be there in a few minutes, okay? I'm going to be on this call for a little bit. No? Do you want to come hang out with Papa? Come here. Come hang out. Okay, got it.
So,
just got back.
Conrad's the youngest guest in the history of the happy hour. Just have to let you know that. We set a record today, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you, for everybody
21 months?
In the chat room right now, boom, spitting image of you, and all the way down. We're getting he's getting more love than I am. What are you guys doing? Give me some love too. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, bro. This kid right here, he can at like 12 months old, he was dribbling a basketball. Now he can fully dribble with both hands. He can go frontwards and backwards. 21 months old. This kid, like, I've never had that much talent in my life. But you know what's interesting? He practices 5 hours a day.
Wow, and
and he's like. He loves it. Like it's
having fun. And that's like you said, if you're not having fun, you're not doing things you love and you're not moving forward. One of the things that I was going to ask you now, I see, I was going to actually throw that out there to you. Now, you say about people that love what they're doing and people that have been doing it a long time. I wanted to ask you a question now about your former employer and not your current. Now, your former employer, actually, we talked about Ric Flair retiring last night. Last week, your former employer, Vince McMahon, decided to hang it up for very surprisingly, I thought that he was going to be taken out of Titan Towers on a stretcher, to be honest. But Vince McMahon hangs it up, and a mixed controversy, of course. But my question to you is, does any of this stuff coming out right now as a former employee of the WWE, does any of this stuff surprise you?
No. I mean, I was with his son last week in Rhode Island.
Nice.
Shane's great. Absolutely. I mean, I saw him probably a year ago in Napa. We were at the same event, an investor event, and he walks up and talks to my son and my wife. It's interesting how, I'm very impressed with Shane. Always been impressed from the very beginning when I was in WWE. His dad, we never clicked. Like Shane and I think he liked the MMA side of it a little bit more. But his dad's smart, I mean, look what he's built. He's built an amazing worldwide, entertainment company that, gave me a shot to create a brand and a name. And today, because of that, I can open up more doors. And I was only there a year, bro. I think about if I was one of their multi-year champs, the things I could do with it, it's just interesting. Like I look at how, we impact lives with a nonprofit or schools or whatever, but it's crazy today. Like the doors I can walk in because I wrestled for WWE is one of the biggest blessings I had in my life.
Let me ask you this. So you say it was one of the biggest blessings. When you actually left WWE now, this is a question I was dying to ask you. When you did leave WWE, I imagine there had to have been some bad feelings. Now, just so the people know, you were the winner of the $1 million Tough Enough Challenge. Now, fine print aside, you win the contest, you're given a contract worth $1 million. Now, turns out there's some fine print in that $1 million contract, huh?
Yep. Guaranteed 1 year.
Yep. 1 year at
So,
250,000, correct? Which the rest of it, 3/4 of your championship prize, was not guaranteed. So now the legend has it. Now you tell me if I'm accurate or not. The legend has it that after 1 year, they decided they were going to cut you and offer you a substantial pay cut to go back to training. Is that accurate? I mean, is that how it went? They were basically like, we're not going to give you the other $750,000 we owe you, but we'll bring you in for like 40 grand or something crazy like that. Is that how it went?
yeah. So they sent me a letter before they even sat me down and talked to me. And it said, hey, we're going to offer you this. And I was like, say what? Like, they sent me a letter in the mail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, hold on, what? So I brought it to them. I'm like, what's going on with this? And they're like, oh, that shouldn't have gone out to you. So I gave it back to them. I wish I would have kept the letter. Son of a gun. So then they had a chat with me like a month later, and they were like, oh, we want you to stay here in training, but we want to offer you 50. It was like 50 grand a year. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, so you're going to tell the world that I won $1 million Tough Enough, but then you're not going to pay me the $1 million? I'm like, no.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. And that's, and I'm not saying this because this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous to even say out loud, but $1 million to the WWE, especially over 4 years, is really like probably $10,000 to you, myself, or your regular Joe Schmo. I mean, $1 million is a lot of money, but not in business when you basically think you're paying a $10,000 salary with the profits they're making worldwide. I mean, you'd agree with me there, right?
Yeah, so just off of gear, off of gimmicks, they could have made 10x that, right? Like 100x that. That's easy. So 1,000x, right? I mean, like the gimmicks they were selling, most of the guys were making a lot of money off gimmicks. But the interesting part is that I look at who I want to spend time with, and I stood up for myself in that point, and I said, you know what? People that treat me or that don't treat me good or treat me bad, I'm going to look at. And I'm going to stick around people that treat me good, and people that treat me bad, I'm not going to stick around.
Yep.
And so it was one of my pivotal moments in my life that I stood up for myself, and I'm like, wow, like I'm going to lose something. I'm going to lose a huge opportunity. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be around people. I'm going to go back to fighting. I'm going to be around people that actually care about me.
Yeah.
And that actually will be there for me.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was going to touch on, obviously, got to ask, you knew it was coming, but the Kimura on Kurt Angle. Now, you get the key lock Kimura. You go ahead, you take you go into the ring. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen. Now, my question is, did you take an opportunity? Were you confused? Did you think that this was an opportunity, or were you like, am I supposed to raise my hand because I do want to get in the ring with him and wrestle?
So let's get clear about the whole entire day. Did you see the whole entire day?
I did, and I watched it just recently. There was competitions, etc. The other guy won it. They smashed his ribs, is what I've been told. I didn't know his ribs were broken, but he broke his ribs and obviously tapped out to the guillotine after that to Kurt Angle. I mean, is that basically like where we are right now as we go?
Yeah. So it's very interesting to look at what people. So number one, they screwed up with putting me in the ring with him. Straight up, they shouldn't have done it. If they did it again, I'd do the same exact thing, right? Yeah. They told me, do not strike, and that's it. They said no striking. Anything else goes. So they set the rules, not me. I didn't go and say, hey, can I do my submission? No. And the ref came out and as actually said it, you can watch on YouTube, that he actually said, yes, we saved Kurt Angle. So at the end of the day, that's the ref. Paul Heyman was in the back. Paul Heyman told Vince, watch out, he's going to snap his arm off. And that's when they called it. And I wasn't even falling my back. If you look at the pictures from the angle that was released to TV on Thursday, they changed the camera angles for the video and what they put on the internet.
Yep.
So it's very interesting. So my coach, Danny Shade, who lost to Kurt Angle by a point or two and like a double overtime or something like that to go to the Olympics, where Kurt went and then won.
Yep.
He is a badass. He's a legit freaking top NCAA wrestler. Yeah. And I knew how tough he was. Still, I was like, let's go, let's roll. Because Kurt looked at me after we ran liners. No, in the beginning, we ran sprints. Then we ate pasta. Then we ran liners and we did off-down competition. And then Kurt comes in all fresh. Yeah. So I look at this whole thing and they're like, oh, Kurt was beat up. Kurt's arm didn't. Okay, so they shouldn't have done that in the beginning then. Kurt allegedly wanted to wrestle every single one of us. And here's the deal. Kurt's a badass. Yeah. I don't take away anything about him. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He's had a crazy career in pro wrestling. I'd love to wrestle him at some point someday. I'd love to do a series with him. You know, at the end of the day, it'd be a huge, you know, I mean, I'd love to do it for charity, right? I've reached out to him and he said no. So it is what it is. Someday, if he wants to have a legacy, put his name on a school, do something like that, love to do a match to raise money for that. You know, it is what it is. A lot of people, I think, would watch it definitely from that era because they would love a whole entire series, which would be really cool. But it happened, and I caught him, and he wasn't expecting it.
Definitely not. And you can tell that was locked in. As a jiu-jitsu practitioner myself, I'm blessed enough to, you know, train under the Daniel Gracie umbrella under Professor Ben Murphy. That was locked. He was in deep shit. They didn't end that arm was breaking.
It was. It was very tight and it was getting very close. I'd say another 10 seconds and it's something either he'd be tapping or it would snap. So one of the two.
And but, now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Same situation today, knowing the backlash that it caused, you know, in the back with Vince, etc. Probably why Vince, you know, had some sour feelings toward you. Would you have done it all over again the exact same way?
No, I would have snapped his arm quicker. Come on, bro. Like you know that I was handed on a silver platter, on a platinum platter, on a gold platter, whatever you want to call it. I was handed one of the top, like I get an email every quarter. Right? Like from Google Alerts, Daniel Puder, top 10, whatever, you know, things in WWE. Daniel Puder, Kurt Angle, like this is still going 16 years later. You know what I'm saying?
People sent their questions to ask you. They're going in the chat room right now as we did all this stem from Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, the whole chat room, everybody's asking me to ask you about Kurt Angle right now.
Like, here's the thing. After the whole entire, after I won, so two interesting things. Number one, after I won Tough Enough, Kurt Angle came up and congratulated me because he knew that I worked my ass off. I was the only guy to stay back in Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, the whole 8 weeks. I was the only guy 100% focused. I was the only guy that was sober throughout 8 weeks. I was the only guy that, like, I rocked it. When I'm focused, I achieve. The other thing is 3 weeks after the Kurt Angle, I went back and I walked into WWE's headquarters, which I did and worked out. And there was a guy out there smoking a cigar. Or cigarette. He's like, kid, you're going to win. Good luck. Thank you very much. And this is a huge life lesson for anybody out there, period, hands down. One of my biggest life lessons in the world and still one of my biggest challenges. I come back after I win. For whatever reason, that same dude is smoking the same cigarette out in the parking lot. And I'm like, he's like, I told you you'd win. And I looked at him and I'm like, how did you know? He's like, I was the guy in charge of the fan votes online.
Oh, so he knew who the votes are coming in.
Bro, one of my biggest challenges and biggest life lessons. Ask the right question.
Yeah. To
get the understanding on what is going on. If I would have asked him, how do you know? Not just say, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Like, I thought he was just like cheering me on. Yep. If I would have asked him a couple questions, could have asked them more, you know what I mean? Yeah. Could have gotten no more. What do I need to do? What am I not doing? How do I do this? But I didn't. And it's interesting because in life, I don't regret it, but because it was perfect. But for this exact scenario that I teach people, get to know what question is the right question. And if you don't know, tell somebody, I have no clue what question to ask, but you know what? I need to figure this out.
Absolutely. One of the Batista 610 says the man that beat the Miz. You did actually at an Armageddon pay-per-view take out the Miz, and this leads me to what comes next. So you go ahead, you beat the Miz, who's still doing the damn thing. I mean, this is years later coming off the real world. Congratulations to him. Talk about making the best of an opportunity. My goodness, that was excellent. But what comes next on the next WWE pay-per-view is what I got to ask Daniel about, guys. We're going to take this very brief break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask him what happened, and then we need to find out what Daniel's up to now. So do me a favor. We're taking this brief break. We're coming right back after this. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We're with the $1 Million Tough Enough winner, undefeated mixed martial artist, and now doing something much, much better for himself and everybody else. We'll be right back after this brief message.
It's a top selector.
Hey guys, today's episode of the Happy Hour is brought to you by Liquid IV. Liquid IV is the world's greatest hydration drink, and the best part is it's good for you. Liquid IV is taking care of the Happy Hour Social Club members with 25% off. Guys, that is a great deal. Promo code KINGHAP will save you 25%. They have great all-new flavors like guava, apple pie, watermelon, pina colada, strawberry, and the new Happy Hour-inspired tangerine. All these flavors are refreshing and delicious. Promo code KINGHAP will save you 25%. And speaking of refreshing and delicious, back to your host of the Happy Hour, King Hap.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you know me, Liquid IV. My very favorite hydration drink, guys. Get over to liquidiv.com. Use promo code KINGHAP. Save 25% site-wide. They got the new Todd Apple. Tangerine was made for the Happy Hour, guys. I love it. I thank you so much to our friends at Liquid IV. Get over there. liquidiv.com. Promo code KINGHAP. We are back. We got the tough enough $1 million champion. And I'll tell you, he goes ahead and wins tough enough, goes ahead and beats the Miz at Armageddon, and you pissed off Kurt Angle and the powers that be by almost snapping the man's arm. Then we look ahead to January 30th, the Royal friggin' Rumble. Now, I got to bring this. Number one, it's a damn shame that, most of the people in that, in this episode here, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, unfortunately, what happened with them was unfortunate to say the least. Bob Harley, but what ends up happening is you enter the Royal Rumble, and some people had payback on their mind. I don't know if this is orchestrated by Vince or not. I've heard it was, I've heard it wasn't. I don't know, but they got you pretty good with some pretty hard chops and slams and things like that. They weren't holding back, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, that was a little rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little rough.
You were pleased, I could tell.
My father was there. He was actually really pissed. Yeah, because he watched the whole entire thing, and he was like, "Wow." He's like, "They do not treat." So that really stuck in my brain. Like that was the first time that I was like, "Huh, okay. So are we going to stay with this company just because of how they treat? I saw other things too, but how do they treat me? Do I want to be around this environment?"
Did you think something like this might have been coming in the Rumble? Or, I mean, obviously you knew you weren't winning it, but did you have any idea?
I mean, I thought I obviously knew some of the framework, but at the end of the day, no clue on the extent.
Yeah, because there was a lot there, and you took it like a professional. Let me just give you some credit right now. Being a martial artist, training with guys like Frank Shamrock, Crazy Bob, John Fitch, you got these skills in your back pocket, and you took this like a professional. And let's call a spade a spade. You ain't shit in that Royal Rumble, dude. You got a lot of those chops in the chest, a lot of hard slams. You took it like a professional, got tossed out, went back, and I mean, truthfully, you took it like a champ. Now, I mean, end of the day, you were definitely pissed off, and you're probably deeply discouraged as well. I mean, how does one come back from that? And do you say anything about it, or you just let it fester inside, and were you fuming afterwards?
It's interesting on how people treat people in this world, right?
Yep.
And I looked at that on, how I was treated with Javi, at AK, and Hobbs has always treated me with utmost respect. So it's interesting on the professional world of fighting and being a pro fighter.
Yep.
Every single fighter I know that's at the top level would smash any WWE guy on any day. I mean, there's a couple people in there, maybe Brock or, a couple other guys that are like legit guys. But besides that, and I played the game.
Of course.
So, it's interesting to be able to see that, I learned some really good life lessons. But yes, it's something that I don't choose to be around people like that in my life who are just horrible humans.
Yep.
That don't, and then Hardcore Holly goes on and writes the book and names me in it. I'm like, oh wow, that's the last thing he wants is a lawsuit, like to be up in legal fees. Like it's crazy. I've thought about it. I'm like, you know what? He's not even worth it. Like it's interesting on how people have to go through life to change stories, talk smack, say things that are not true, and then write about it just so they can make a buck because they're broke. So pretty interesting.
Yep. And one thing I want to say pretty interesting about now, and now, like you mentioned Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is a legitimate mixed martial artist in WWE. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler. There are a couple people in there that are legitimate mixed martial artists with, UFC, Bellator, etc., experience. Now, they were ahead of the curve. You were out there. You were wearing your MMA outfit. You had on your shorts. You wore the MMA gloves back then. They could have been ahead of the curve having a legitimate mixed martial artist. And in a way, for WWE, this is actually a swing and a miss, in my opinion, because the mixed martial artist, put it this way, if you were kept in WWE when the big rush on mixed martial arts came, think about the money-making opportunities for not just yourself, but WWE. In my opinion, they really dropped the ball there. I mean, do you agree with me on that one, or do you think it was a little too soon, too early?
Oh, they dropped the ball big time. Here's the thing. If they're going to hire somebody, they're going to make 100 to 1,000 times whatever they pay you, period, hands down, right? So my ratings on the Tough Enough, what I heard was it was like 8 to 12 times what the normal ratings were.
Yeah.
Because people were like, what's going to happen? Who are these new guys? Like, what's going on? Like, it's an incentive. So even if, let's say, I built a brand over time and I trained properly and I did an MMA gimmick, which they didn't like, and they didn't like at all.
Yep.
UFC is blown up. WWE has not blown up as fast as UFC has. Like they were at the peak, they were losing peak while UFC was going up. So it's just interesting that it happened like that. They could have, I look at it and I've talked to plenty of people in the industry. Even Dave Meltzer, right?
Yep.
And Dave Meltzer's a personal friend of mine. And he's like, it was a perfect timing for everything. And UFC, right after I won Tough Enough, they did their first Ultimate Fighter show on Spike. It was literally perfect timing, but they didn't understand it. So, second lesson that I'm gonna throw at people: understand the future of the industry or the market that you're going into. Yep. Because they didn't understand what was going on. And you know what?
Excited.
Yeah, sure. But they were focused on what they only knew was the past. They weren't looking at like, oh wow, UFC was never blowing up before, right? Boxing was big, stuff like that. But if they would have understood and looked at and kept going for a little bit longer, and at the end of the day, maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe now they're doing it, but it's already fizzled to some extent. Yes. UFC's great. Love what Dana's done. Love what they've done, but it's just a different world.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing with we mentioned, and I got 17 comments in the chat room wanting me to ask you about this. We brought up Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, who was one of a legitimate badass in WWE, was taken out, by an AKA alum, Cain Velasquez. I'm not sure if you had any time with Cain at AKA. Number one, I heard from John Fitch that Cain is one of the nicest men that ever walked this planet and would give you the shirt off his back. I'm sure that number one, not someone you want to fuck with. I mean, the man was an animal, period, end of conversation. I mean, and he brought heavyweight mixed martial arts to the next level with this wrestling, cardio for days, etc. Now, my question for you, two-part question. Number one, did you have any experience in the gym? I mean, you would have been probably not training with Cain. I would imagine that back then, I'm not sure, because when you were on Tough Enough, it didn't look like you would have been up around, it looked like you would have been more like 205, 185 for your, I don't know where you fought at. I wanted to actually double check.
I was heavyweight. I trained with Cain. I trained
beautiful.
with Cain.
Even better.
And you know what's crazy? I'll just plug this. It's interesting that I'm a deputy sheriff, right? And I do a reserve program. And it's crazy what Cain's going through. I'm not saying that what he did isn't right, but at the end of the day, it's crazy that the guy that molested, allegedly, what I've heard, is the guy that molested his daughter, or that did something to his daughter that he then attacked, this whole thing, got let go and never spent time in jail, but he's spending time in jail. And so it's interesting where district attorney is coming outside and denying bail for a third time, not just once, not just twice, third time, when he's not a flight risk. And at the end of he could be, they could consider him that. But this is crazy it's crazy stuff going on. He is one of the most polite, nice, caring, never went off on anybody at the gym, cared about people. It's crazy to see what happens, when, obviously something was going on and pretty bad stuff, but I trained with him. So I'll tell you about Cain. Cain, you go with a first round, 3 more people that are fresh go with him. The 5th round and the first round are the same level of energy.
Unbelievable.
You will get punched just as hard. You will get punched just as long. You will get punched just as many times or more. You will get kicked. You will get kneed. You will get taken down. Whatever that is, Cain will literally wreck you from first round to 5th round. But he's the most outside the cage, didn't drink, didn't party, on track, focused, very interesting and amazing human. Very proud to have spent time with him.
Yep. And one of the things, so I was surprised that you said heavyweight. I mean, at the time you were training, now I know that Wikipedia, everything says you're heavyweight. That's where your fights took place. But at the time of Tough Enough, were you weighing like 240, 250 then? I mean, you looked a lot leaner.
So the lowest I got during Tough Enough is I was like 225, 230.
Okay.
By the time I left Tough Enough, I was more than 260. And then for fighting, I was about 240 to 250. So just depending on cardio and eating. I mean, here's the thing. In WWE, all you do is eat, and eat perfect. And eat perfect, right? Like I would literally cook my own meals at the house every single day, and I was eating perfect. Plus, I was training 6 to 8 hours a day, right? And sleeping properly. Just a different world when you don't need as much cardio versus when you're an MMA fighter. Whole different stamina and cardio, and you're not lifting weights all the time, because if you lift weights all the time, then you got these huge ass arms that now weigh you down, right? Conceptually. So it's funny because I've been training and my coach now has me lifting weights for my arms. And I'm like, I really never lifted a ton of weights for my arms. I still don't, but it's just interesting to be able to see the difference on different points of training.
Definitely. And like you say, you got to be somebody like a Cain Velasquez or a Brock Lesnar to be able to carry that type of weight and do that type of workout at the same time. I mean, get in the cage and into the wrestling ring. That's something that must be very difficult to put together. That's somebody in the chat room says that you were actually at one point scheduled to fight Tank Abbott. Is that correct?
So we were working on something. The contract never got signed, but he makes a big fuss out of it. At the end of the day, I would have loved to fight him. I'm pretty sure I would smash him pretty quick. Here's the deal. He's tough, but he's a brawler. He's not a real, show me a time he's ever done a freaking arm bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, show me time but he's a badass. He is. Yep. He's a brawler.
He's made a good living doing it, but he's not a mixed martial artist. He's a fighter.
And that's why I wanted to fight him. I was like, this is really cool. This would be amazing. Didn't happen, is what it is.
Huge name, would have been great to put on the resume, though, and I'll tell you what, he'd probably be a good contact even now. Now, my question is, now one last comment about mixed martial arts and wrestling here, because it's in the chat room. It says, what's your opinion on the matter about Cain? And then it says, they consider him a flight risk to go to Mexico and never be seen again with his, financial status. That's their concern, yet his entire immediate family's here in the U.S., and this whole thing's over his immediate family. I kind of think that they're over-exaggerating his flight risk to Mexico. I think he's offered to do every single thing the court requests and community service in the meantime, awaiting trial. I mean, do you think they're just kind of giving it to him a little harder than they should?
I mean, anybody can be a flight risk. And it's interesting to be able to see that the person that did whatever they did, that was the son of the people that owned the kid location where they did the daycare or whatever else. When you have somebody who is a alleged sex offender and they're living on a facility, they should all go to jail and be put in, they should all go to jail and be put in, I mean, it's crazy. They should, mother, father should be, they should convict them because they were a part of it. Like here's the thing. If somebody does a crime and somebody else knowingly contributes to that crime, then you can be charged at the same or around the same, depending on the level of that crime. So you're an accessory to the crime. So the parents should be definitely charged. They should lose their license forever. From my opinion, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a DA. I'm not a state attorney. I'm not a U.S. attorney. But at the end of the day, looking at it from a legal standpoint of laws, it's pretty ridiculous that guy would not serve real time. But again, there's reasons why we have our certain DAs, and it's very interesting to see how they get appointed and win votes.
We're going to have to see. We're going to have to keep paying attention and see as this goes. Because like you said, legally talking, it sounds like logically talking, it sounds like somebody should be in jail from the other side as well. I don't want to take all of our time talking about that because I could go all day on how angry that whole situation makes me, and I'm sure you the same. Well, we're talking about children, though. You're touching a lot of children's lives by improving their education right now. Now, my question to you is, sir, you are actually starting schools, you're starting training programs for serious learning. We're talking K through 12, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. K through 12, where these children can go, number one, you're actually, for this private school, I mean, this is the My Life, My Power Preparatory Academy, correct? And one of the things about it is you're going ahead and offering scholarships to the students. But here's the thing that's best, is you're teaching them real world skills, and you're actually offering them the opportunity to be kids and have a good time in life, as opposed to just school, homework, studying, etc. I mean, is this basically what it is at your establishments that you're going ahead and opening up around the world now? And I mean, basically taking over, in my opinion.
So what it's called is school choice. And the idea about our school system, pre-K through kindergarten, pre-K through high school today, is that if you're wealthy, you can choose whatever private education you want. You can basically buy into a private school, send your kids wherever you want. If you're not wealthy and you're on the end where you don't have as much money, you cannot choose your education, because they, at this point, they're starting to, but not in full force. The government, state or federal, will not give you just a stipend check to go to a school. They want you to go to the school that they tell you to go to and mandate you go to. Now, schools are funded by tax dollars, land tax dollars primarily. So it's very interesting to understand the system. Now, some schools fail a bunch of kids. Some schools, like ours, we have about a 97% graduation rate.
Amazing.
So over the last 4 years, we started with one school in South Florida, in Miami. It's called Liberty City, the most violent neighborhood in South Florida by the FBI stats at that time. And we started with 3 kids, and today we have, we'll start September with over 900 kids.
Wow.
And so I look at this is people can look at our Instagram at MLMP Prep Academy or My Life, My Power International Prep Academy. People can look at this and they can see that we're transforming lives. And not only that, let me back up one other thing. So we're taking kids that are expelled and arrested and foster care and homeless and human trafficked and all these things. But we also have kids that are coming to us and saying, public school doesn't work for me. Now, my mom was a public school teacher. If it wasn't for my public school teachers and my mother, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I believe that schools should be of a parent and or a student's choice to what's best for their life. If some of our kids come to us and they have to work full time because they have a baby, and they can't go to a school, period, any school, right? Charter, private, or public. They need support where they go 2 days a week, or we have a deal where you can go 15 hours and you can graduate high school. And then you can do some online. But at the end of the day, you still got to do the same work. You still got to do the same framework. We're regulated by the Department of Education in Florida. And we're also global corporate accredited through COGNY and SAC, same accreditors as Miami-Dade or Broward or West Palm. But what we're doing that a lot of people are not is we're teaching three major things. One, the financial literacy and the framework to credit build and everything else in the finance world. Like, why go to school, right? Like, go to school to learn real life use.
Yes.
Number two, we teach about belief intelligence, not just emotional intelligence. A lot of schools just teach you about your emotions. The problem is then you're talking about your emotions all the time and then you get emotional. But it's a belief that fundamentally provides you with a interpretation or perspective about which creates your emotions. So we run this through my brother's psychiatrist. We have 4 studies that we've already published with an IRB through College of William and Mary on what we've been doing. We have 5 more in the hopper, and now we're doing a lot more in the belief intelligence world. So, and then the last one is we're teaching people how to do 2 fundamentals in their life. Number 1, learn how to learn. So it's fundamentals of like systems and learning and processes and everything else. And number 2, we're teaching them how to network and build the right relationships. And a lot of kids live around businesses. They live around churches. They live around after school programs, but they don't understand how to build a LinkedIn account. They don't understand how to build a resume. They don't understand how to open a door. They don't understand how to go serve they're like, kids are all the time like, where can I go? Even at my college kids that I taught at Nova Southeastern, they're like, where can we go to build relationships with with wealthier people, rich people? I'm like, most simplistic way. Somebody that cares and somebody who's rich, go to a nonprofit. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, they have races, they have bicycle rides, they have charity events, they have dinners, they have galas, they have all these things. Go and ask to go serve, help, build relationships, join a board, serve so much they ask you to join a board. So I think today there's a lot of people think that they can just put their resume out there and people hire them. And then you see on their LinkedIn or their resumes that they have this job for 6 months, and this job for 1 year, and this job for this, and this job for this. And it's like a turnover. We don't hire types of people like that. Why would I hire, if you're going to turn over, why would I put time and effort and money into you when you're just going to leave and go somewhere else?
A lot of people don't even see that. You're right, because it's the training and stuff is money out of your pocket, bringing people in, and then they leave and they go somewhere else. And basically what you've taught them now turns into somebody else's benefit. I mean, correct? So you want life is pretty much.
Yeah, I want people to stick around for 3 to 5 years. And we train people. We pour a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of talent into people, a lot of money training people. We have a whole training system that we built out in our companies. Like, we're hiring right now, I think it's like 12 or 14 people in the next 2 to 4 weeks. We have a bunch in the hopper. I mean, somebody on your show ever wants to work in schools, you want to be a student advisor, a tutor, a teacher, something like that. I think we have teacher positions filled, but you ever want to be in a position or a dean that runs a school, go to MLMP Prep Academy and hit us up and send us your resume, But I think that, we are transforming what we call the future of education. The future of education in 10 years, I'll just give you this. It's not going to be on computers like it is today. It's not going to be on VR headsets like this, right? Like looking at our cameras, like our phones, like we're right here. Nope, not going to be on that. It's going to be on what Elon Musk is doing, where you put a chip on your head. And I'm not even joking about this, right? Like, I mean, I see the stuff coming. You're going to learn the content in 10 minutes. You're going to learn the content in 30 seconds. You're going to whatever it is. It's like the Matrix. And we're going to go from information learning at 100% of schools to information learning will be like 2% of schools, 1%, but it will be project-based learning. So you're going to say, I want to learn this skill set this semester. And they're going to say, here are all the classes that you need to learn the skill set. And you learn the content, and then you go and you practice the skill set. I want to become a auto mechanic. Awesome. I want to become an engineer. Awesome. here's how we're going to frame the curriculum around who you are today, around the DOE standards, and we're going to help you learn the content and then go do what you love to do. The whole thing is going to shift the world.
I love it. So two of the things here that I see that you guys work with, and I wanted to ask you about them. Number one, homework. What are your thoughts about homework in the school curriculum and going, with children? Like you say, this is from K to 12. I'm talking, what are your thoughts on people going home and doing their schoolwork at home?
So we don't assign any homework, but what we do is we give the opportunity on our digital platform that you can go home and get ahead. So I just had a kid that's 15 graduate from high school. Why? Because for the last couple of years, he kicked butt. He did not homework, but he did extra at nighttime. He worked hard during the day, and he graduated at 15.
Wow.
So now he's going to be going to college or he's going to go to Miami-Dade next year. So he's going to start college, I think, at 16 years old. So if he does the same thing at college, he's going to get out of college at 18 or 19, and he's going to have a full career. Yep. So I look at this is homework is good for learning, learning the process. But at the end of the day, some people don't have time for it. Some people don't have the help for it. Some people don't have parents at home that have time or that know or that have resources to help them learn how to learn. It's very difficult. And so I've heard of schools that have failed kids because they have no support for the homework. So the homework drags down their grades, and then they start failing.
Yeah. And that's something too that'll get in your head mentally and bring you down in your motivation. I mean, I was the same way in school. I wasn't the best student. I was lucky enough, like I said, afterwards to have, fantastic jobs working for big companies and stuff. But that's only because of, like you say, hard work from basically scrubbing toilets up. But if you want to go ahead and get out of school in XYZ and you want to be motivated to learn, like this gentleman you say that graduates at age 15, I mean, you need to be led and you need to know how to learn. I love what you're doing. And one other thing that it says here that you guys work with, and I'll tell you, with the Dolce diet, we do 10-minute mornings. Now, my question to you is, you guys do motivational mornings. Is that something that we're still working with over there? I mean, is this something that is instilled in all the students at your schools?
Every kid we do 30 minutes of morning motivational. Because why just go to school to read a book and take a test? Like, I believe the purpose of going to school is to have fun, to learn, to grow as a human, not just to read a book and take a test. I can go read on my cell phone I'm holding up my cell phone every single day, right? I can go, everything I'm ever going to learn is on the cell phone. Everything mental I can learn is in my head if I connect the right things to the frameworks and the concepts and the ideas to create that intrinsic motivation, to create that framework, to create the mindset, the belief system. It's very simple, but it can be very difficult.
Yep. And at the end, you guys are doing an excellent job, and I know that you're really happy. What your goal is to help as many people as possible. And at the same time, I mean, you're doing an excellent job of it. But now my question to you is, how do you get these students to go ahead and know that this school exists, and how do you go ahead and find them? Is this from reaching out into the community? And I mean, number one, your mixed martial arts and your WWE background obviously help because people find you very popular because of that. Is this how you're going ahead and getting the word out there as through like speaking and, assisting people in public locations, etc.?
So I'm actually, that's how we started with it. But we actually partner with community groups and different groups of kids that are having challenges. Yep. I mean, some kids are coming to us with straight A's and honor classes too, but something's gone on in their life, whatever, right? So it's a different learning environment. Now, the best part is partners and communities are the key. Like, at the end of the day, they know who needs what. They know the living environment or whatever's going on. We're working with foster organizations. We're working with DJJ organizations. I think we have probably about 20, 25 foster care kids. We'll have about 60, 70 next year in Miami-Dade. So we are working with the most challenged at-risk groups and serving them and doing a really good job. So I'm really proud of my team. I mean, here's the deal. At the end of the day, I'm the president of the organization. I'm one of the founders, but the ones that our team that's on the ground that are supporting these kids day in, day out when they're going through whatever they're going through, dude, they're the rock stars, man. Like, I mean, they're doing I'm really blessed to have the people I have a part of our organization.
Your organization's amazing. I do have a question for you. One last question here before we get to the last call. I mean, if you guys get over to, and Ant's put it out in the chat room a couple of times, and we'll make sure it's in the show notes. We'll have the, you can get over to, DanielPuder.com and also mylifemypower.org. Now, you have a shop section over there, and you're selling, and one of the things I find exciting here is you're selling the blessed beads. Now, is this something, Daniel, that's still actually available over on your website? Because you did say you went and met the Dalai Lama a couple of years ago. Now, are those still available on the website?
I have a bag in my safe, and that's all we got. So those are like we're yeah. I mean, there's only one bag left of them, so we're not selling those anymore.
See, guys, so this is why you got to jump right on and make sure you follow the website. Should something like this become available, that's where you'll find it out. You can follow them on Instagram, etc. And you want to know where you're going to be able to get that information, you'll be able to get it during last call, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, last call is being brought to you by Clearwater Distillery. Clearwater Distillery is the official top shelf alcohol of the Happy Hour Social Club and the most delicious small batch alcohol on planet Earth today. Promo code KINGHAP will save you 10% site-wide, and all orders over $100 will be shipped to you free of charge. I'll tell you, we're having a fantastic time here, guys. Get on over there. Use promo code KINGHAP. Enjoy some Clearwater Distillery. Matt O'Clair, the CEO, will be back on the Happy Hour KINGHAP podcast soon. I mean, guys, it's last call. We're here with Daniel Puder, the $1 million Tough Enough winner, undefeated mixed martial artist, and now mylifemypower.org. I'll tell you, man, he's the boss over there, but like he said, it's all his people doing the crazy work. Daniel, should they want to go ahead and find you on social media, they want to find your website, where can they go ahead and find you, big man?
Oh man, they can Google My Life, My Power International Preparatory Academy. They can Google My Life, My Power. They can Google DanielPuder.com. They can go to any of my social media on Daniel Puder. I'd love to have you, anybody that ever wants to come out to school, see what we're doing, speak about it, whatever. We invite speakers out all the time. We have like CEOs and judges and police chiefs and, executives and entrepreneurs. And we have amazing people that love to talk to kids. So if anybody's ever interested, please come out. Hit us up. You can email my assistant C.E.O. It's XIO at MLMPIPA.org. So XIO.
It's so amazing too, by the way. Very, very personable. Awesome contact. I'll tell you what, guys. Yeah. And you know what, Daniel? I'm always down in Florida, and I'll tell you what. One of these times, I got to take you up on and come see the school. I would love that.
Hey, bro. And when you come down, we'll schedule a day. We'll take some of the kids out on the boat. And we'll I don't know if you like boats or not, but we'll go out on the boat. We'll go have some fun with a few of the kids, and they love to go out, check things out.
Would love that. And I'll tell you guys what, as always, in the show notes, going to be all Daniel's information. Guys, should you want to give him a follow on social media, especially give him on Instagram, etc. You guys, if you follow, if you're here, you're probably following me. You'll see that in when I put out the show link tomorrow. Daniel, I can't thank you enough for being here, big man. Is there anything left you got for the Happy Hour Social Club members?
No, bro, I'm just blessed to be on here. I know C.E.O. helped set this up. I really appreciate you guys, and absolutely love to be on again at some point when we do some stuff. Maybe Kurt Angle will take a change of mindset someday, and then I can get on right before we have the biggest match of the WWE history over the last 20 years.
Boom. I would love it. Guys, I mean, the only thing left, we're going to go ahead. We're going to say goodbye because VIPs are waiting for Daniel there. We've already seen him pop in the chat once or twice. So, Daniel, what we're going to do is we're going to kick it out of here with a little bit of a biss. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Daniel Puder, make sure you give him a follow on social media, and we will see everybody tomorrow night live on the Happy Hour. Guys, we'll Wednesday and Thursday this week. Do me a favor, please, guys. Make sure you give him a follow. We will see you guys real soon. So good night, and I love you all.
Yeah. Our best happy hour. Our best hiphop.com. Sports fanatics applauding at the matches, picking winners when we sift through the brackets. Yeah, turf green like a bag of sour. We're gonna talk in that podcast is the Happy Hour. Met a come to the game fully geared, who would dare? Been beast mode since the rookie years. Yeah. Little fact for the lightning round. This is Title Town, the place where all of the fire's found. We attend games on a regular. Heard more goals than a motivation seminar. Yeah. Stay charged like a visa. So many bad calls, no we stopping by the most bleachers. So click play and just soak it up. This is happy hour, but not the same as your local pub. Sports talk, hit the pro shows a must. Just go right the page, call the happy hour social club. Boss move, so you know your boy paid them dues. Front row, you can see us through your pay-per-view. Fights on, watching them box like big parcels. The MMA, know that the art is mixed martial. Listen, guess you better play your best. You're playing vets, and better go take a breath and just play the bench. Yeah, clap hard with these two hands. You've been true fans, reading stats off the newsstand.